All right. I think we're live. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope everyone's off to a really good start this week. Today, we're doing something a little out of the norm. We're bringing in one of our partners who brought in over the last, 30-ish, 45 days, a little over 20 grand in counting with the Facebook ads that he set up himself in-house. So today we're going to be breaking down kind of how he did this, what his messaging was, what avatars and patient populations he was going after, what kind of offer did he put out there, and then ultimately, what are the systems in the background on how he's actually converting these leads. And then we also have a really special announcement. Dr. Ben Baghi is going to be joining us on Monday trainings, which is incredibly exciting. Ben, you want to just give a 20-second spiel on your story?
For sure. First of all, super excited about this. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm excited for this. And kind of give my spiel on who I am and where I'm at. So I'm a cash-based clinic owner. We have 3 locations, one in Oakland, California, West Hollywood, and then we just opened a third one in Des Moines, Iowa, back in my home state. So I started my cash-based practice right out of school as a new grad. And started my practice in Oakland, California, and scaled it from there. Graduated in May 2018. We did 140K the first year, and then we just finished up our second year and did 600K. And then because of this, I was able to pay off my student loans within 2 years. And so I want to help other people be able to do the same. And that's really where my passion lies, is one, being able to continue to scale my practices and continue to get them to grow. But at the same time, helping other people realize their potential and that they can do the exact same thing. And so I want to teach other people on how to do that, because I know student loans are a big problem, and there is a solution. And that's my big thing, is helping other people be able to get those paid off as quick as possible and create the practice of their dreams as well. So thanks for having me, Jordan.
Yeah, we're super freaking excited to add Ben to the team. He is insanely talented with sales and systems, all the things that make Facebook ads work. Because after all, we all know that leads aren't valuable at all unless they're converting into plans of care, which is why we brought Nick in here, because he is one of the best examples of someone who learned the system, trusted the process, and implemented it, and he's winning pretty dang big. So Nick, thank you so much for jumping in here and being willing to share your story. Our goal here is to hopefully provide you a ton of value and help you, build upon the success you've already been having. So thanks for being here, man.
I appreciate the opportunity. It's been a great ride so far, and happy to have Ben along too. It brings a lot of value to the group.
Yeah, he does. So just for the people, who you are, what your practice is all about, let's start with that.
Yeah, so I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, cash-based PT. I have one admin office. I call my office manager. Right now she's out, so I'm hurting right now. So been in business for 3 years. Probably the first year and a half was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, kind of doing home health and cash-based PT. That's kind of how I did my transition. But over the last really 2 years, it's just been all my focus is here. So just grow. Each month I grow, each month I learn, each year gets better and better growth wise, as far as the understanding of business wise and revenue wise. So I don't know what else you want to know.
Yeah, what kind of patient populations are you currently working with? And just so people can kind of see what stage you're at and relate with you, because I think you're at a similar stage to a lot of people in the group. Like, how many visits are you seeing a week?
Sorry. Yeah. So, the chunk of my patients are that kind of 48, I won't say 45, 48, 49-year-old active female that kind of go up into their 60s. So that age range of females that, they just have your regular aches and pains, back, knee, hip, and they're looking to just stay active and mobile, and they like to work out, but they're not like super like workout, like, they're not like CrossFitters. Okay.
Right.
That's one part of the patient population. And then I deal with a ton of runners too.
Yeah.
That spans all ages. So I kind of have 2 different patients that I talk to, which is a problem at times. But so that running population that spans across, 25 to 72 really. And then that older active female. Visit wise, I was just looking at some numbers. This week I'm at 23 visits. Toward the end of last year, I was averaging 27. It dipped down in December, close to like low 20s, high teens. But, if I were to say accurately, I hover around that 20 visit range. Really busy toward the end of last year. And then December dipped a little bit, and now I'm getting back up to where I need to be. So
Yeah,
multiple reasons for that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Right. There's definitely a ton of factors that played into this. You're definitely not the only one. If you guys are on the call right now and your numbers or weekly numbers aren't what they were last year, you're still working on building up and recovering, say me in the comments. Super curious to know how many people are at that marks right now. So you obviously joined our program back in October. Can you kind of walk us through what kind of marketing you were doing before that time? I know you're doing a little bit of Facebook ads, but I want to know what kind of stuff was working and then what got you into Facebook ads to begin with.
So my main mode of marketing was in-person workshops. Obviously last year that didn't work, didn't go too well.
Right.
But that worked like really good for me just throughout my practice. And I did a few online too. Not through the ones that y'all teach, but just on my own.
Not yet.
I'm also in a networking group called BNI. So referrals, passing referrals between each other. Then you have your word of mouth. I've done mailers, which have worked well. I've dabbled in kind of everything. I've dabbled in Facebook ads before. I've worked with some other groups in regards to Facebook ads as well before working with you guys. And then Google ads, of course. So I really try to have a couple different sources. What I'm finding is that they all kind of go together, in their own sense, So I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. So now you've obviously started running Facebook ads. Things have gone pretty well over the last 30 days. So talk us through, who is it that you were targeting with these ads? And if you remember what the offer was off the top of your mind, I'd love if you'd be willing to share that.
Yeah. What is it with hip pain? And no one can help you with hip pain. Like, I don't understand. It's just, so I targeted middle-aged females with hip pain. I think my target range was 45 to 64-year-old female with hip pain. I called it, I stole one of your things, the Healthy Mama Hip Assessment. I also made a little bit of an active women's hip assessment, and that kind of drew a lot of people too, because I always would say, hey, what brought you in there? Oh, it's the fact that you said active in there, and I'm active. So the hip pain campaign was the first thing that I started to run, just because I had been working a little bit on my own Facebook ads and it was working, but I wanted to see what y'all had to say. How can I perfect this? So that by far has given me the biggest return. The hip, and then I started to do the knee pain campaign as well. So hip and knee are the two ones that I've been working on. Those are just two areas of the body that I'm super comfortable with working. And it's two areas of the bodies that just in general, people don't get the right answers or the right type of treatment for. I'm not the greatest therapist. I'm not saying I am, but in general, there's a problem. I saw a problem and then I try to address that problem, that gap that's missing. That's all.
Right.
So I want to move to runners and shoulders next, but it's hard to keep up to manage them.
Yeah, I bet, especially when your admin's out, that's a tough place to be. So before we kind of go into what your systems currently look like and hopefully help you kind of build, a foundation to help scale this thing when you do start pumping money back into ads, could you break down your numbers for us? Number one, what your revenue was currently at from these ads, how much you spent on them, and then we'll kind of go into, how many people are you getting on a phone call, how many, are actually converting, and we'll start kind of getting down in the gutter.
Yeah, the interesting thing about running Facebook ads is not every lead fills out the form, and they'll call you and they'll say, where'd you find me? I saw your Facebook ad. Or they'll email me. Yeah. Hey, I saw your ad. I want to talk to you. So it creates this omnipresence awareness that is fantastic. Because then if they don't fill out the form, they go onto your site and they're reading your site, which is what I want them to do. But just to get to the nitty gritty stuff, I pushed it to the limit at times as far as ad daily spend, because I wanted to see, okay, what is this going to do? So right now it's a little over 20K and counting. There's 4.
Nice.
So I just had a lady say she either wants to do the 12 or 16 pack. When she comes in next time, she'll decide. It's 12K right now. That could potentially be 30K by the end of this week, depending on how my evals go.
Okay.
That's from, and this is the part where I need help. That's from $4,300 in ad spend. Now, of course, it's still a great return, but I'd like to get that number lower because I know there's a lot of dollars just flying all over the place out of my pocket because of my inability to manage these properly. So, but still, when you're talking about marketing and return, I mean, who wouldn't want that? I'd take it. Total like leads. So I've had 55 leads, 26 appointments, like the offer appointments, like the $47 offer. And then I can't read my own handwriting. I think 11 plans of cares from that. So I do a little bit different than Ben, but I'm curious to get his thoughts. I do the voucher appointment lead into a full eval. So I apply their voucher to the full eval 250. So if they paid 47, I say, hey, if you want to reserve that next visit, we'll apply that 47 to the 250, and then I lead them to the plan of care. I'm just more comfortable taking it slower, but I'm all ears on that.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty solid conversion rate, especially in those plans of care. But I'm sure there's some things that we can do to improve that and even improve kind of that lead quality. So there's a couple different conversion rates that we can start working with.
Yeah,
sure.
So the eval, so the appointment number to patients is going to be a little bit less because I do that eval to patient, and that's going to be a little bit higher ratio kind of thing. Does that make sense? So
yeah, totally. What is how much is the voucher they running the ads to right now?
I'm doing 47, but I'm about to go to 67. I'm tired of the 47.
So walk us through, explain why.
I just feel like what I offer them in that voucher visit, first of all, is worth more than 67 and 47. I just felt like 47. Okay, let me see if I can get a little bit higher quality lead more consistently. The lead quality varies. There's the people that they're just not ready.
Right.
There's the people that they want more information. And then there's the people like, I need this. And you just pop on my Facebook. This is a godsend. So just knowing where people are at is super important. So I'm thinking if I put a little bit higher of a price point, maybe it's going to have a little bit of effect on the quality is great in general. Yeah. In particular, compared to what I've done in the past, Facebook wise, which was, so that's kind of my line of thinking. Whether that's correct or not, I don't really know.
Yeah, I think that's probably the first place where Ben and I can start to kind of refine what it is you're currently doing here. So I'm just going to share my screen and kind of take notes here. So right now you're getting these 55 leads, 26 of them turn into appointments. How many of these 55 leads are turning into phone calls? And kind of walk us through that so we have an idea of what these conversations look like and see if there's anything we can improve there.
Yeah. Let me, I knew you were going to ask me this. Real quick, out of those 26 appointments, those were the voucher appointments. Yep. 19 of those became like evals, like paid evals kind of thing. And some of these are still, there's like 4 or 5 or 4 of those 19 evals are still kind of, they need to happen. Yeah. So that kind of gives you an idea. Let me, if you don't mind, can I just look at my clinical marketer real quick?
Oh yeah, of course.
So right off the bat, there's like 11 leads who just haven't responded to our follow up. We follow up. They just don't respond. Now there's another hot leads who have talked to us at one point who we're trying to constantly get in touch with. So there's 22 of that 55. They haven't booked. They haven't paid us anything. They haven't done anything like that, but they either have not converse with us, or they have, and there's still an ongoing conversation going.
Okay.
And then there's people who have had a conversation, they need a book, but then all of a sudden they got COVID, they need to reschedule, and we got to go we're following up with them. That's about 9. And then the rest are just the numbers you already see. Is that kind of what you were asking? I don't know.
Yeah. So I know one of the questions that you asked us prior to the call is, some of these leads aren't a good fit. How do we manage those conversations? Can you kind of walk us through this scenario? And then
So I'm working on this with my my front desk. I said, listen, the goal is not to get them scheduled. That's not the goal. The goal is to see if they're a good fit to work with us. Now she's great. She's fantastic. I mean, since hiring her, it's been awesome. But she also feels the need, like, oh, well, they claim this voucher. Like, I want to help. I want us to help everyone. Everyone should come in. So when they come in for that voucher visit, if they don't move forward, I don't. First of all, we analyze the phone calls, but I can kind of tell, like, oh, this person's. My question is, if someone really wants to come in for the visit, I'm happy to help them. I really am. I'm happy to if they just come for the 47. But how can we be a little bit more strategic in turning people of the way, if you will? If it's just like, hey, you're not. There's that balance of, okay, not everybody's has to come in and do the full plan of care, but some of these people legitimately need, like, just someone to just show them something or send them on the right path. So it's like getting those people, what's a better way to handle those people than to have them come in when I kind of know, like, oh, this person likely isn't going to convert. Does that make sense?
yeah, Ben, you got some insight on that one?
Yeah. I mean, and what we do. Well, first of all, Nick, I love what you said. Is that's the whole point of a sales call too. And what a lot of people forget is a sales call is also isn't a sale call, and the phone script and all that too isn't meant to convert every single person that comes through. It is also used to filter out who is not a good fit, right, and be able to identify it as well. So I love that you're already light years ahead of a lot of people. Because of that mindset right there. So first of all, great job with that. So what I would do is, and I don't know how your conversations go, but make it evident, like, so just make sure I got this correct. Like these poor leads are ones because they're categorized as poor leads because they don't usually do follow visits. Am I getting that correct, Nick?
Yeah, they're legitimate. They're people I can help, and they're generally good people.
Yep.
But you just know the follow visits aren't coming down. Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that's really important is pre-framing, like this visit is. Be like, Miss Smith, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. This visit can be beneficial, but it's not going to get you to X, Y, and Z. Like figuring out what their goals are and be like, we see this day in and day out, and patients in your situation and your injury isn't going to be fixed just by this one visit. And I'm not here to waste your time, Mrs. Smith. Most likely you are going to need 5 to 10 visits, right? Are you willing to invest in your health and going forward? Or are you just looking for this to be a one-time thing, right? And so that can kind of pre-frame things and also get people to, I think this is where a lot of people with the Facebook, doing the Facebook ads and doing the sales calls, they don't really pre-frame. Like a lot of people, if you don't pre-frame it, think that, oh, this is just a one-time thing, right? So in that first call with them, you also need to pre-frame, like, hey, you're probably going to need follow-up visits as well. Does that make sense, Nick? Any questions on that?
That's super helpful, and I caught that from your replay on Friday. I will say we could do a better job on that pre-framing. How we put it is, hey, this visit's for you to come in and to help you make a good decision about what you need to do moving forward. And after this visit, you're going to decide whether or not you want to work with us, and we just want to make sure you're a good fit. I don't get into visit numbers and whatnot, but I don't get as far down the line, so I'm just curious on that. So
you don't want to open those can of worms too early, but you also need to establish that they're probably going to need follow visits, because then it turns into what is your packages, and then they want the breakdown of that, and then now the conversation centered around cost and not the actual quality care and the life changes that you're going to create for them and getting them their goals. So you have to be careful with that. But usually, like, Ms. Smith, based on everything you told me, you sound like a perfect fit for physical therapist X. This is something he sees day in and day out, and typically patients in your situation only need 5 to 10 visits with us, and they're back to X, Y, and Z, right? And pre-framing that, they're going to need follow-up visits. If they're not interested in the follow-up visits, they'll probably tell you right then and there, and they'll most likely just be like, I just don't know if I want to move forward with this then, and so that kind of gets you out of those weeds of having to tell them, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't go forward with this. They kind of take themselves out of the equation and the situation there. That makes sense, Nick?
Yeah, no, that's super helpful. That pretty much answers the question, just because it's that balance of like, okay, then the flip side of me is like, okay, but if they come in here and then they go away for 3 months and still haven't fixed it, they know I treated them well.
Yep.
Which has happened. Like the people that are just like, hey, I don't want to continue forward. This has been awesome. I'm going to try my insurance, even though we've had the insurance conversation. But and like you said, it's mainly the people who have no experience at BT. They don't know what to expect. That's harder to.
Exactly.
So I think that phrase, hey, Jordan, you're gonna come in, we're gonna do all this, and likely you're gonna need follow-up visits, Jordan. So I just wanted to let you know this visit alone is not gonna fix you, but we'll talk more about that on that visit. So just leave it at that, and then
Right. Yeah, and I like the position of seeing it like nonchalantly that they're going to need follow-up visits. Don't be like, you're absolutely going to need follow-up visits. I would just be like, we see this day in and day out, and typically patients in your situation only need 5 to 10 visits, right? Making it so they see, like it's not that much, and that you're also conversing with them that they are going to need follow-up visits without like kind of just like throwing their face like, yeah, you're definitely going to need follow-up visits. Like, typically this is what we see and whatnot too. So
I'm an 8 to 12 guy, so we'll say only 8
hey,
to 12.
that's what you can. Hey, that's what you can do too. Whatever you're trying to go for, you can throw that in there. That's totally, everybody parses differently, so it's whatever.
I know, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, pre-framing like that, it doesn't only work when you're selling appointments. If you're one of the people on here that sells online programs to your patients, whenever, for example, in our business, whenever before we even get to the actual first strategy call, we always have like a triage session, which is the same as your first phone call when someone opts into your ads. And before we even set that full like discovery session, we always let them know, like, one, okay, what you can expect on this call is basically we're going to outline all of your current challenges, figure out what it is ultimately that you're trying to achieve, and help you put together an easy action plan to be able to get there. And then if it makes sense, if you like what we have to say, we're going to invite you to be a part of our our 12-week program that helps you implement it faster and make sure you get like those long-term results. And so they're always kind of excited because they know what to expect. And then on that sales call, like if I didn't pre-frame it like that, they would almost feel weird that I'm pitching them at the end of the call. So this way they at least expect it. And the conversions from when we started kind of telling them and pre-framing them about it, the conversions have definitely gone up just by letting them know what to expect coming into it.
Yeah.
Give them time to think about it.
Yeah, pre-framing solves so many issues for people. Not like Jordan says, not just for like the sales call or anything like that, or for follow-up visits. You can use it for literally anything. Like if you want to start implementing like a continuity program at the end, like that's something that you should be pre-framing on your call, right? So I walk down I tell them we have a 3-step process. First phase, we need to decrease the pain they're experiencing. Second phase, root cause. 3 is taking full body approach and making sure that we're fixing everything. And then a lot of times when patients are done with their physical therapy and they're back to where they were, they continue to work with us on a monthly basis to continue to push the envelope on performance, strength training, and all that too, right? And so you pre-frame that, and then it's going to help with continuity, right? Also, you can use that and implement it for people that, if you like, a lot of times PTs will have high drop-off rates when people are out of pain. Address it on the visit. Like, you will most likely be out of most of your pain after visit number X. We tell them like usually by third visit they're out of a lot of pain, but you're just past that threshold of pain. You're not. We got to correct the imbalances that led up to you crossing over this threshold, right? So I'm not going to get a super tangent with that, but pre-framing helps so much with so many different issues. If anybody's dealing with any problems that they're noticing downstream, start pre-framing and addressing objections before they even happen upstream. So
yeah, I love it. So obviously the phone call, something else that you can do, but a different direction that you could also implement as well. At what points are you having them complete some sort of intake survey? Do you have anything like that right now?
You mean like initial paperwork, or?
Yeah, kind of like asking them like, what's your problem? What's your goals? What's the reason that you think this occurred? Are you willing to invest in, solving this problem? That sort of thing. Anything like that?
I should probably get that.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds crazy because I just think, well, shoot, we cover all that in the call, but I get it. You keep doing it. I've been meaning to redo my paperwork. I try to keep the paperwork as simple as possible and not too redundant. but I'm all ears in regards to like, hey, even though you ask these things on the phone, they need to be on the paperwork. I'm all ears on that.
Right. So I'm going to tell how we do it within our business. I'm going to let Ben drive it home. So he's got a really, really cool system for how he does this. And even when he calls it is really, really cool to just get more people to do it, because this gap in, 55 leads and 26 voucher appointments of people who have actually come in, I think there's some optimizations there we can do just to improve that number. What we do within our business is when you schedule a call, prior to that call happening, you have to complete what we call the pre-call assessment, which to everyone who does it sounds like, it's an assessment. It's helping us analyze your business. But really the goal of that, yes, I want to know some core key details about the business, but it's all about bringing your biggest problems to the front of your mind and getting you to agree to, be willing to invest in making this problem go away. So like our questions are, obviously the easy things like how many visits are you at a week? How many are you trying to get to? What's your biggest challenge with getting there right now? Are you willing to invest to make this problem go away? Are you willing to start right now? And so now before the call even begins, they're already in like the mindset that, I'm ready to solve this thing and get it over with. So Ben, you want to tell them a little bit about your, what do you call it again?
Initial evaluation accelerator form.
Yeah.
So, or evaluation accelerator form. So we changed this a few months ago, and the likelihood of somebody actually completing these forms has skyrocketed just off of changing it, right? So normally if you go and see a physical therapist, you see a physician, they just call them intake forms. Nobody fucking wants to do intake forms, all right? So they want something, you have to let them know what do they get out of it by completing it. Right? They just think, oh, intake forms are just something I have to do in the clinic. It's not really going to benefit me a whole lot. Maybe I just won't even do them, or they put them on the back burner. But I tell them on the phone call, I'm like, hey, what I'll be doing next, I'll be sending you our initial evaluation accelerator form. It's super important for you to complete that because it'll allow us to get into even more treatment on that first session, allow us to hit the ground running and start making progress toward the X, Y, and Z right off the bat. So make sure to fill that out. And then I send it over to them. It's titled Evaluation Accelerator Form. Then they complete it, right? Because now they're like, oh, I get something out of this by completing it. I think who doesn't want to get more out of their first visit? Who doesn't want to get into more treatment on that first session? Like, well, if you want to get into more treatment on that first session and really hit the ground running, then complete this thing, right? And so people will do it as well. So that's one thing that we've done, and it's helped a ton. And also in the intake forms, the evaluation accelerator form, has a lot, like Jordan mentioned, has a lot of different questions that really dive deep and get into things that you may have not able to extract from them on that first call, right? Maybe you just on the first call, like they really wanted to get back to running, and one big thing was stress relief, and that they weren't able to run. It was they weren't able to get that stress relief. But on that intake form, they have more time to really type things out. What a lot of times people include is, for example, in that scenario, they'll be like, yeah, it's really starting to impact my relationship with my kids. I have a 7-year-old and I have a husband at home. And not only is the stress impacting, not is only their stress being manipulated by not being able to run, but it's also impacting their livelihood and relationship with their family as well, right? So that's a much higher pain point even, right? So something that was extracted that you normally wouldn't have been able to get out of them if you didn't have that form structured that way. Okay, does that make sense? Sorry, I went on kind of tangent, but that's kind of how we.
No, it makes 100% sense. So do you just ask like kind of big picture questions then? It's not the like, where is it hurt, all that stuff. It's like,
first of all, you have to give them softball. You do have to give them some softball questions at the beginning. Ease them into it. Yes, at the beginning, it is kind of the softball questions like, how did this happen? The big thing is figuring out what are they unable to do because of it, right? And then we get into a big question is, it's like, imagine a year from now, if you weren't dealing with this injury, how does your life look differently compared to now, right? Get them start thinking about, how much better their life would be if they weren't dealing with it. And then one thing that we ask is, everybody has a why. What is your why when the going gets tough? And what is your main motivating factor to get over this injury? And that's really the big moneymaker on knowing what their big pain point is that question. And it's the last question, right? Because you got to warm people up to that. And it helps the physical therapist on the back end immensely during that initial evaluation versus having to try and extract that from them. because sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll do it on the first call, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll do it during the evaluation, sometimes you won't. Where we get the best response is on the evaluation accelerator form with that.
Yeah. And so you were talking about different like levers to improve the quality of the people coming in through your ads. Adding that survey into the ad pipeline is something that can definitely help. So that's obviously some initial extra steps people have to take in order to complete the booking. So that could also improve quality. So just to help you throw this into action like right away, cool if I show you within your Go High Level, because all this stuff already exists. Yeah. You probably didn't know it's there.
I saw the survey thing. Is that so? Is that when you put it in there, Ben, or is it like it's automatic?
Good question. So I do that after the first initial call with them.
Okay.
Jordan's going to show you something different that's going to help with the quality of leads coming in. I think.
Okay,
That's
cool.
what Jordan's going to show you.
Yeah. So this, this is just where you put it is just another lever that you pull to figure out what's going to work the best for your people in the systems you already have. So I'm going to share my screen real quick with you. So within your dashboard, it's just underneath survey builder. And as you already went through this, so definitely go through here to see all the different questions that our survey has. Ben and I are going to work together to inject some of his questions in here to make it even stronger, but there's some really thought-provoking ones that I think you'll really like out of there. But within your funnels, within the Facebook ads one, probably this one. Okay, so there's one survey page that we purposely put in last because there's no way for people to get to it right now. But you can have it set up to either go right before the thank you page and have it be like a, step 2, you don't have your voucher yet, complete step 2 to get it, and have people kind of fill out that assessment. And obviously those initial steps are going to filter out all the people who aren't like serious about solving this right now. So that survey is already on this page. You just got to drag it in here, add any questions or edit them if you want. But all this stuff came pre-built in your account that we gave you.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of the technique before. I just wasn't sure when to use it or when not to use it. So that's helpful.
Yeah, we generally take it out right away for people to basically get their ads optimized and get them running and get that initial ROI that they need. And then once it's time to start scaling that, once you have enough data to make good decisions, that's when we start working on that next tier of optimization. And you're definitely there, my friend.
What if you put that survey page before the form?
You would lose a lot of people.
Okay.
Probably, I mean, again, I'm making assumptions, but I'd be willing to bet.
No, it makes sense. Just asking. Yeah.
So, right now you're kind of dialing back your ads. You're at kind of capacity right now. Your admin's out of the office. Tell us what the next, what's your next goal over the next 6 months? What are you trying to achieve that we might be able to help you with here?
This is where I get roasted over the fire. What's my goal? I mean, I like to be averaging 25 visits a week. I have my year-end goal that I have. I can't say I broke it down to 6 months, but if we were thinking about, my goal in revenue for the year is 250. And I guess if we're going to break down 6 months, that'd be 125. I haven't broken down the smaller parts yet. So that, and then hire PT by the mid, by the third quarter at least.
Okay.
That's what I have in my head. I'm dealing with some we'll just leave it at that.
Growing pains. I believe it, man. So if you want to hire that new PT, you're currently at, you say you saw like 27 last week?
27 this week. Last week it was 19. So it just with the ads they keep, that's why you got to give it time, because it's like someone we talked to 3 weeks ago has finally made it in for their eval. It just kind of keeps trickling in, if you will.
Right.
Which is nice because it gives you a nice little deal flow,
Right. Which is nice. It definitely, I remember one time it came to us with should I turn this campaign off? It hasn't worked yet. And then the next day, 3 people heard it. Facebook's fickle, but she always comes around if you play the long game with it. So if you hit 25 visits per week, is that total? or is that across like more than one person? Like, will 25 visits a week be enough to bring on that new PT in Q3?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Okay.
The average visit with the way my individual is 250. You usually go for a 12 session pack of 2,500. Or the 8 is like 1,750, but they've also paid an eval for those. So anywhere from $2,000 to 2,750 is what people are spending. So that would be fine. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you're definitely on track to get there. At what point are you going to start scaling your ads again?
I need to, here's my admin. She's, this is why I hired her, because I needed her. Now I realize, man, I really did need her. I'm just going to start the shoulder campaign hopefully by this week, but she's going away because she just had a grandchild. So it's just crazy. She had surgery. There's a lot going on. So I'm kind of, that's an internal thing that needs to be dealt with. So I'm kind of, because I can't follow with all these leads that are coming in. That's basically the problem. I'm not going to pay and spend for ads right now. And there's so many people that still need to be followed up with. These leads that were from the old campaigns are still good. We've talked to 10 or 12 of them here and there. So that's a process too. I mean, there's money in that. So I'm thinking about all that as well. So I don't know, did I answer your question or?
Yeah, it just sounds like it's a matter of time. Just got to wait till all the right people are in the right place. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Stacy just asked a really good question. What were your average visits per week before starting this particular ad campaign? Or how many new appointments are being added because of the ad campaign?
Oh man, that's a great question. I would say in December I kind of dipped to like 12 visits a week, but I need to go back into it. Basically, like August, September, October, November were nice and busy. I was hovering around 20-ish a week, even getting up to 30 at some point. But just for multiple factors, that kind of just slowed down a little bit because I didn't have enough time to market really. That's why I ended up slowing down. I couldn't keep up with the marketing. So this strategy has definitely brought me back up to where I need to be, and it's helping me be more consistent. I think more important than any number of like, where was I at? Where was I now? The point is that I'm consistent and it's bringing in consistent revenue, and that's it. It's just like, so I don't have the total visit. I'm not trying to hide anything, but it's just like, I didn't calculate that. Like, so.
That was perfect, Nick. That was an awesome thing to say. I'm probably going to clip that. But so out of 55 leads, he got 26 new people to actually come in for the voucher appointment. 26 people to claim the appointment. 19 people showed up for the paid initial evals. And then 11 of those converted into plans of care. And that was over the span of about like 45-ish days. Yeah.
Really late December is when I really got into it. And actually out of the 19 to 11, there's still like 4 evals that need to occur. So I expect that number to go up there. So
make sure you give us that updated number, because I mean, if your conversion rates hold up and you hit that 30K, that's a pretty awesome metric, man.
Right. And just real quick, just to ask about numbers and stuff, yes, it's good to analyze your numbers, but it's just like you can get like analysis by paralysis by analysis, like
no doubt.
Number to that number. And it's like the ads aren't like, I can't say they're bulletproof perfect, but I know that they work because when I put money in, money comes out. It's just like, a good return. So I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I love it, man. I mean, you put in the work and you have the right mindset, which helps a ton. A lot of people are, they look at injecting money into Facebook ads as a cost rather than an investment. And you very clearly understand that kind of mindset around things. So before we go, we got time for like a couple more questions. If anyone has questions for Nick, Ben, or I, please throw them in the comments. Or Nick, is there anything else that we can help you with before we wrap up today?
No, I do want to I just want to harp on that is the being patient. I have my lead sheet here. I had someone opt in end of December. Mm-hmm. She really didn't come in until late January. Okay. And she spent 2K with me. So it's a process, and it's just, you're not going to just, they're not just going to come in and drop $2,000 on you right that next week, at least not from my experience. But overall, it's been very beneficial in having me have a predictable lead generator, and it's brought more awareness to my business. So it's just, you just have to have the right mindset. Not everybody needs to be booked. Not everybody's ready to get out of pain. Not everybody's ready to get the treatment. So you need to know what their mindset is coming in. Why did they sign up for the voucher? And that helps you kind of, triage them, which obviously the thing that Ben, the accelerated intake form is something I want to implement. My question, but just to have that mindset's important outside of the nuts and bolts and the numbers and the cost spend and all that. Now, I'm not saying have a negative ROI and just go willy-nilly, but if but that there's a time and a place to really analyze and optimize, and there's a time and place to just do it. Just do it and get it done with, and then make a decision based on how things go. I guess my one question is, I use JNAP, Ben. So is this like a Google form, or I know Jordan, you guys use Google form, but Ben, as far as like that, the accelerator intake form, is that a separate Google form that you send out, or is that part of your documentation?
Good question. So we use PT Everywhere, and so when I book an evaluation, they automatically get sent the intake, the evaluation accelerator form, and whatever else we need to have them fill out as well. It's just automatically generated, and they just log in their patient portal, and the intake forms are right there, and then they just complete it right there, and then they can submit it, and it's just all in one portal. I'm sure you can do the same with JNAP.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same. I'm just going to tailor that form. I'm just going to tailor that form a little bit. So.
Yep, for sure. So, yeah.
Well, hey, everyone, be sure to thank Nick. Nick, thank you so much for taking the time to jump in here with us. It really means a lot, and keep kicking butt and keep us posted on how things are so we can help you continue to progress.
Yeah, man, I appreciate everything that you and Max do, and having Ben here. I wanted to call him Jordan because his name says Jordan.
I'm logged into his because we were doing the Friday call. So that's on his.
Just providing a lot of value to this free group and what you do to help people grow their practices. I think it's amazing, and I'm a true believer in it. And so I appreciate everything. When I first came into the book partnership group, you guys go above and beyond of what I originally thought I was getting. Let's just put it that way. So you over deliver. They didn't tell me to say this. They didn't tell me to say anything. I'm not getting paid for any of this. But I'm just telling you the legit truth, if it's okay to speak my mind. So.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate the heck out of you. I mean, you're a world-class member in the program, and we're really happy to have you in there. So appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate the help.
Yeah. So feel free to bounce off, Nick. I'm just going to do a quick wind down for the program. So Mark asked a really good question. Does this marketing only work for cash-based clinics, and does it only work for direct access states? This is a really, really good question to get all the time, and no, it does not. So you can still advertise basically a paid discovery visit to your practice. And during that initial phone call, you basically figure out if you take their insurance. If you take their insurance, then you basically wash it. There's a couple different ways that you can do it, but when you're advertising directly to patients, you want to do that paid evaluation, so it pushes away all the freebie seekers. So whether you take their insurance or not, doesn't matter. You still promote a paid assessment, and if their insurance covers it, perfect. It's just to get the people who are serious, interested, get their information, get them on a phone call. And if you are a non-direct access state, it's the exact same scenario. You still advertise directly to them. You still do the paid evals. You get them on that phone call. There's just an extra step of them contacting, their physician, or you helping them contact their physician once you have that initial phone call to get that referral, or to get them to prescribe physical therapy for them. So really good question, Mark. If that doesn't answer your question, just follow up with me over Messenger. I'd be more than happy to help you dig into this, because we have a lot of in-network or hybrid clinics that run this system very effectively. And they all kind of manage it in a slightly different way. There's 3 or 4 different ways you can handle it if you do take their insurance. So great question. So guys, as always, thank you so much for tuning in every single Monday. We got some really big stuff coming now that Ben is on the team. He's going to be with me pretty much every single Monday from here on out, right, Ben?
You bet. You bet.
Yeah. So really big stuff coming down the line around pricing, around sales, systems, more Facebook ads, as always. So if you guys are interested in figuring out how to implement the same system that Nick implemented, if you want to work with Ben, me, and the rest of our team to help implement your in-house marketing system, comment strategy below, and we're going to follow up with you to help jump on Facebook Messenger, basically ask you a little bit about your practice, figure out if you're someone that we can help, and then if so, we'll invite you to a 15-minute strategy call where we'll figure out what your current challenges are, what your goals are, and help you put together a custom game plan that's going to help get you there. And then if it makes sense, we'll invite you to be a part of our 12-week partnership program. If not, we're just going to give you an action plan to help get you there yourself. So if you guys are interested in working with Ben and I, just comment strategy below, and a member of our team will follow up with you to ask you some questions over Messenger. But everyone, thank you so much for being here. Ben, super excited to have you, brother.
I'm pumped. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll catch you later. Everyone have a good night. Bye.